can you please just give me a little bit of insight, a story, just something that we ain't heard quite yet about that 90 and 91 Miami Hurricanes team?
I don't think people know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, this ain't normal. This is not a normal program. You're not supposed to. I mean,
tell us, please tell me.
I don't even know where to be. We did this bounty thing. I don't know. I guess there's a statute of limitations that ran out, but.
All right, folks, you know what time it is. We have a very special episode of The Fumble for you all today. Our guest is a comedy vet, a Saturday Night Live alum, and before he took the mic, he was hitting hard as a Miami Hurricane on the football field. Make some noise for the one and only Finesse Mitchell. What's up, cousin?
What's going on, cuz? What's up, Rodney?
Hey, that was a phenomenal intro, Samaria. Let me just,
that was one take.
Yeah, like that was so smooth. She got that girl good. She's a pro's pro.
That's what I heard. That was one of the reasons I agreed to do it.
And we appreciate your presence, first and foremost, black man. So you are from the Atlanta area, and I know that you play football, but real quick, because the NBA draft went down not too long ago, I want to get your thoughts on all things Atlanta Hawks. Do you feel like, first and foremost, the Kristaps Porzingis trade helps or hurts the Hawks over the course of the next 3 years?
If he's on the court, it helps. Okay. If he's on the court. He has a history of showing up to work, but staying in a suit. We don't need you sitting on the bench in a suit. We need you in shorts. So if he's on the court and you put him next to a Kongwu and you let Capella come off the bench and you put Jalen Johnson out there and you put Risha Shea or the light skin, the guy we got from New Orleans, he looked like
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, I'll be sure before the accident.
He got to start. He's amazing.
And then Trae Young is a liability anyway. We look at it, but if he can outscore the point guard that's about to score 50 on him, we got a shot.
Well, that's why you got Dyson Daniels to take the best team's opposing guard. But that Kristaps Porzingis and Trae Young pick and roll, I think, can be really, really special. Again, health is the most important thing when talking about Kristaps. But interesting movement. I'm interested to see how that pans out in a wide open East for next year.
Yeah, we have a history of drafting people and then trading them, and then they turn out to be the
like Luka Doncic. I was going to ask you.
Hey, I think this kid we drafted last night, Derek Queen out of Maryland, that, we went to, I said, oh, that's a Charles Barkley right there. But then we traded him to New Orleans.
So,
yeah, but, hey.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, but, New Orleans is New Orleans.
Nah, he got to play with Jordan Poole and Zion. I don't know. That's rough.
Zion ain't on the court. He worse than Porzingis.
Moving right along, Samaria.
Speaking of Atlanta teams, let's move over to the Falcons, right? Do you feel
like your favorite team?
Do you feel like Michael Penix Jr. is going to
address that, Samaria? Is that your favorite team?
The Falcons are not my favorite team. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And where do you live exactly in Atlanta?
I'm from Decatur.
And what street? And what's the house number? Because I can send some people over there. You ain't gonna just keep talking about Atlanta like that, but then claim Atlanta.
I claim everything else, but not the Falcons. And we talked about this before the show even started. The Falcons have given a lot of reasons to want to give up.
But when you are like entrenched in the city, that's your team. You don't give up on your stepdad just because he ain't treating your mama right, but he buying you school clothes. You want them school clothes. So you hang in there with him.
Okay, well, my parents are not Falcons fans, so I feel like I didn't grow up in a house where we were rooting for the Falcons in general, and then they kept pooping in the bed.
Losing?
So I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're gonna have a great year. I think the NFC South is weak, or I should say average, but I think we'll be above average as long as we can get our defense together, and I think we made some steps in the right direction with our draft this year.
What about Raheem Morris?
What about him? I mean, he knew. I ain't seen him win nothing since he left LA.
That was like 3 years ago, and the world shut down in the midst of it. That was crazy. And he's from Jersey, where I'm from in Jersey, from Irvington, New Jersey. Stop.
Well, he better get his act. He better get his act together, or we might as well go back to the white dudes.
Samaria,
Y'all invited me. Y'all invited me to the show.
Okay, let's keep talking about football. Let's get off Atlanta. So
I was in my house drinking coffee. Y'all said, hey, get on the Zoom. I got on the Zoom, and then y'all invited me. That's all I know.
Okay, let's talk about the Tennessee Titans a little bit, because you're a huge Miami fan. You keep up with all of the things Miami. Cam Ward, of course, went number 1 overall to to the Titans. Do you feel like, what did you make of him going number 1 overall? Do you feel, well, let's start with, do you feel like he was a little overshadowed when he was picked?
Yes, I believe ESPN did a poor job. I don't know what that was about. I really don't. I'm so sick of Mel Kiper Jr. I'm sick of his glasses. I'm sick of his haircut. I'm sick of his tie that never matches blazer. Mel Kiper is obviously taking the bag. Because why do you promote certain people over certain people, like to at an extent to where it's like ad nauseum, and then these people don't even pan out? But why did you do that? Like, who gave you the check to keep talking about Will Levis like he was the next thing since Air McNair? And then we get in there and Will Levis, they won't even let him back in Tennessee. I don't even know what team that boy played for.
He's
but
still
yet,
in Tennessee.
Once again, you take Cam Ward's, and I've never seen this in the history of the draft. You take his moment to shine to talk about Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted or still on the board. It was the number 1 pick. Why are we talking about Shedeur when all you had to do is get this man his 4.5 minutes? And so the whole college fan base that loves just college football should have been upset. And then the people who are NFL fans should have been upset, because I'm sick of commentators thinking they the star and they take up all the time talking about irrelevant stuff. Yeah. And Rodney, let me say this. I like Raheem Morris. I just question his coaching skills, and that's kind of important if you the coach.
The man has a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. I think that we need to give him time to figure out.
Was he really talking on the headphone, or was he listening?
Actually, he was. One of my really good friends was the DB coach for that Rams team, and so I have a lot of insight and information on Raheem Morris and how he led the defensive side of the ball. He did a phenomenal job. And again, he is from Irvington, New Jersey, where I am born and raised. So I'm a triple down on my defense of Raheem Morris.
Wait. I still wanted to ask about Cam Ward, though. Finesse,
yes.
Like Tennessee is the best fit for him.
You know what? Every quarterback needs protection. And the reason a quarterback kind of fizzles in his first year is because they go to a team where the offensive line is crap, but the team picks the quarterback before they pick the right tackle or the left tackle. Hence, when we were talking about Detroit, they actually did it right. They actually got Penei Sewell before they started even worrying about their quarterback, because you have to build the lineup to have a quarterback come in that young and have confidence. So Cam Ward, all I can tell you is the truth beyond the truth beyond the truth. I was saying it. I'm on a big University of Miami football blog, and we do podcasts and we do group text. But we all knew. We knew we were going to beat Florida. We knew we were going to beat all these teams. And had our defense just been a little bit better, we would have been in the playoffs. You would have got a chance to let that man shine on the big stage in the college playoffs. And then everybody would have said, oh, yeah, he's worthy of the number 1 pick. But because we didn't make the college playoff, they kind of dissed him on draft night. And I'm still sore about that. But he got a chance to show everybody and prove his value this upcoming season. He's the truth.
You think he's going to have a phenomenal rookie season, or will he take a little bit of time to adjust to the league?
I think all quarterbacks take a little time. I watched Michael Penix play Carolina and play Washington and play, quarterbacks are off. Routes are about timing. O-line determines how much pressure you under when you're trying to make a decision under 3 seconds. But Cam is a smart guy. He's a player's coach. I mean, he's a team player.
He's a coach's player. He's a guy.
Yes. And he's a coach on the field. Okay. And he's an offensive coordinator on the field. I mean, half the plays we ran, he changed at the line of scrimmage. So I think to get him in Tennessee, and with I think Bill Callahan is the new coach there.
Or Brian. It's Brian.
Oh, Brian Callahan. There you go.
Yes. But Bill's the dad, who's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
but who's the line coach? Excuse me.
Who's the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, Samara? Wow. You live in Decatur, huh? Wow.
Who is
Okay.
it?
She tapped out of the Falcons. I ain't gonna lie to you. That ain't her bop.
So you feel like they should have kept on? What's the guy's name that's the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh now? Who was the head coach?
Arthur
in
Smith.
Tennessee. Arthur Smith.
Yeah, no, we should have ran him out on a Greyhound bus. We should have sent him to to Pittsburgh on a Greyhound that had 40 stops before it got to Pittsburgh. Yeah, he was horrible.
Salute. So you know so much about football because you were a walk-on I believe the 91 Miami Hurricanes football team.
Yes.
I
walked on in 90. We won the championship in 91.
Okay, so you got a ring for 91?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's so. That team has some of the biggest stars in not even just college football, but in all of entertainment, right? Because The Rock was on that team. The story,
Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, and the list goes on and on and on and on.
So the stories that we hear about that team and that program during that time, right? Is it even more wild than the rumors and the whispers that we hear?
Yes.
Can you please just give me a little bit of insight, a story, just something that we ain't heard quite yet about that 90 and 91 Miami Hurricanes team?
I mean, I had a couple of frat brothers on the team. I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi. But I used to say to them all the time, I said, man, we should be on TV. I don't think people know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, this ain't normal. This is not a normal program. You're not supposed to,
tell us. Please tell me.
I don't even know where to begin. We did this bounty thing. I don't know. I guess there's a statute of limitations that ran out. But, Uncle Luther Campbell was heavily involved in our program.
Yes, tell me more.
Yeah, man. He would pay the players for certain hits on certain people. And we had a ranking about if we played FSU, if you knock this person out the game, you get this. If you knock this person, But back then, there was, of course, no NIL. There was only meal money. People was getting $35, I think, for the weekend, or $70 for the weekend to eat for 3 days, and you a football player. So, everybody at that time also had families. These dudes had kids and stuff, so they was trying to support, their families and stuff. But they couldn't afford their own jersey, that was being sold in the school at the school bookstore. So all I can tell you is that beyond the dice games and the fights in the locker room before halftime and after and before the game, and then we would still go out there and beat somebody 48-3. You know what I mean? 46
were they physical, like
fist
fights?
Yeah, man, we would fight. We would fight each other.
That's what I would assume. Any big names that got it on? Somebody that you were surprised had hands or did not have hands? You ain't got to say a name.
Yeah, but the answer is yes. Like the most quietest people, got hands.
So you can talk about who got hands. You can't talk about who got knocked out.
I would just man, all of them. Anybody who played linebacker had hands.
So Ray had hands. Okay.
Anybody like this dude Leon Searcy, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, nobody was messing with that dude. He went in the first round. Russell Maryland went in the first round with the Dallas Cowboys. It was just a team that looked like we could have beat some NFL teams back in the day. And anytime we lost, we would basically beat ourselves. We got into a fight before the Brigham Young game. We lost to Brigham Young. We got into a fight before the Alabama Sugar Bowl game. We lost to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. You know what I mean? It's just like, but together, it was a family. Them dudes was brothers. You know what I mean? So, And I always say them dudes because like they didn't like Kappas very much. So I had to always go in there and be looking over my shoulder, making sure I don't get jumped.
That's pretty consistent throughout universities in America in general. I feel like
like the football team, they don't want you pledging.
Unless you pledge Q, then you get money.
Yeah, or Q or Sigma, but it's just something about, what I'm saying? It's just something about when the boys walk into the yard. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so much animosity and resentment. It's just weird, but Hello?
Yeah,
North Carolina AT&T?
No,
yeah, right.
A&T.
North Carolina ATT. North Carolina.
You know what I'm saying? We paved the way.
Yes.
We paved the way.
You said Rodney.
HBCU in the country.
You said Rodney didn't have the GPA. He was too busy. He was too busy with trying to get on Drumline with Nick Cannon. Yes. Okay.
No, that's
All
Atlanta.
right.
Atlanta A&T. Hey man, what is it about the older guys? Why y'all start rocking y'all hat like Will Packer? What is the tilt to the side? I never could understand why y'all start doing that. Once you
I don't know what Will Packer has to do with anything, but
why do y'all be doing that?
Wearing our hats to the side?
Yeah, like you just had your like T.I. in 2002. It's just like I don't.
Oh, okay. How do y'all do it? You supposed to turn it around and wear it to the back like that?
No, I just came from playing tennis, so my this is an athletic aesthetic right now. But it's,
supposed to? Well, this is why I do it. So in case your people want to see my face, I'm kind of tilting it a little bit so you can see my eyes. Because if I pull it down like this, then you can't really see me.
Got you.
And because I didn't shave my head all the way clean, so I said, let me just rock it to the side expeditiously. You know what I'm saying, partner? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Man. Yo, I got a question because SNL is one of my favorite shows of all time. Even though now I think, no, that's a fact. Like, especially Weekend Update. No exaggeration. I'm a comedy guy, like through and through. So I like the brilliance and the political brilliance of SNL at times, especially in like politically hot seasons. And Weekend Update, I think, has been one of my favorite segments of any show over the last 20 years. But all time for you, man, somebody who was an alum of such an illustrious cast, who was the all-time starting five for SNL?
Oh, that's too difficult, bro. I can't even.
No? That's
too difficult. But I will say Eddie. Eddie's one for me. Will Ferrell is two. I will say John Belushi is three. You know what? I'm going to go and throw Maya Rudolph in there. She's going to be my four. I like Maya because Maya can do anything. But when you a team player, sometimes even you keep Scottie Pippen on the bench too long. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm going to put Maya in my top
over Tina?
five. Yes. Now you're saying a day player, like a player. Tina's a writer who can do sketches, but Maya is a performer who can write.
So that's your five? Okay.
No, last one is if I had a new Jack. Oh, you know what? Because he my brother. Mm-hmm. Because we started together in 2003.
Go ahead.
Because he's the longest running cast member in the history of Saturday Night Live.
I was gonna ask.
Because he has no relation to Raheem Morris. I'm gonna go with Kenan Thompson.
Yes, that's what I was waiting on you to say.
Kenan Thompson. So that's gonna round out my top five. And then six, honorable mention, Finesse Mitchell.
Salute.
Yes.
Salute.
They wouldn't let me on the field. I fumbled the ball too much though.
What position did you play?
I was a strong safety. I was like a cornerback, strong safety, but more so strong safety. And then one day I got on a open mic night at the Miami Improv in Coconut Grove. And that kind of changed my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life and my career. I knew I wasn't going pro. But I wanted to do something. And when I got on an open mic night to do stand-up comedy, bro, I destroyed the crowd. I won this joke contest. And the power of positive affirmation, man. This dude had whispered in my ear, bro, you just made up that joke. I can tell you just made that up. And he was the host. He was like, I want you to come back next week and just do open mic again. And I was like, nah, I'm busy. He said, man, come back next week. I went back. I did it again. And I got booed. I didn't get booed. It was just silence. And I was like, what the hell happened? And he said, how come you didn't do what you did last week? I was like, I didn't know you could repeat yourself. And he was like, yeah, you can. Go back and do the same. So I went back the next week. And then I just kept going back. And then 6 years later, man, I was on Saturday Night Live.
It's incredible.
I did BET Comic View, BET Comic View, BET Comic View. And then boom, Tracy Morgan was leaving Saturday Night Live. And then I heard that they was looking for the new black guy on Saturday Night Live. So we called Tracy. We all, like me, D-Ray, all these people. We were like, yo, Tracy, you leaving Saturday Night Live? You're like, I'm leaving SNL, Finesse. And I was like, oh, okay. So we all auditioned, and then they picked me and Keenan,
Fire, man.
You can never be Papa Bear. You can only be Baby Bear. I'm like, who is Papa Bear? I'm Papa Bear. You heard me, Fabrice. Don't be disrespectful. That type of stuff.
So right now, what you got percolating, man?
Man, I'm glad you asked, Mr. Rodney, because I am not in Brazil. I am in LA. I'm on the grind right now, brother. My comedy special, my 4th comedy special, Slightly Offensive, is being released July the 1st. It's available for pre-order right now if you go to finessemitchell.com. But it's hilarious. July the 1st on 800 Pound Gorilla on YouTube. 800 Pound Gorilla is a comedy label pretty much that releases a bunch of specials. And so I did a deal with them, and I stayed, and I self-produced it, so I own it. And so, but yeah, man, I want everybody to go check that out. I'm about to shoot my next special in about 3 weeks out here in LA. So I'm going to invite you,
Where
Rodney.
at? Can I get the, I'm about to say, can I get the information?
Yeah,
I'm serious about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. DM me. And I want you to show up, not show up like you do Believe LA. I want you to actually be in the building.
Oh, no.
Samari, you take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? You don't hold these grudges. You got to come back to the Georgia Dome, to the Benz. You got to come back to the Benz. We need your support. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be like, oh, I live in Atlanta, but I root for a bunch of other people.
I don't live in Atlanta anymore either.
She lives in Detroit, though, for the record.
Oh, well, then we don't need you. Go on. Stay up there with the Lions. You don't have to root for us. I thought you was in the 4-4 or the 6-7-8 or the 7-7.
Oh,
no, my bad.
No, that's
Her
that's
husband, her husband, a coach.
raised.
Her husband was a coach for who?
Her husband is a coach for the Lions. Her man is a coach for the Lions.
Oh, okay. Well, then you root for them. Go ahead.
Yeah. He a big joker too. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
Hey, I said, well, you go ahead and root for them. And like I said, I've always liked you. You got good energy, and I wish y'all the best. And I want y'all to watch my comedy special July 1st. You can go to finessemitchell.com and you can go hit the click. You can hit the link and it'll take you straight to the special. Or just follow me on Instagram, Finesse Mitchell. TikTok, if y'all in y'all 20s, I'm Finesse Mitchell 0 on TikTok. I was Finesse Mitchell, but I got locked out. So yeah, because I did a viral video. My niece uploaded it. So my niece put it on TikTok and created me a profile, but she did it from her phone. So
somebody stole your name.
Yeah. So when I went viral, I instantly had like 50,000 followers off of one video. And I was like, oh, that's a good start. So when I tried to log out or whatever months later and get back in, it didn't recognize my phone. And I couldn't figure out what she did. And me and her was mad at each other and she wouldn't tell me. So now it's
that is some old
Finesse Mitchell 0. Yeah, now it's Finesse Mitchell 0.
Well,
so if you're in your 20s, DM me on how to get back to my old page. I can see it. I just can't get back in it. But now I'm Finesse Mitchell 0. And if you're in your 40s, I'm on Facebook, Finesse Mitchell.
Man. Well,
and if you're in your 50s listening to this, I'm at finessemitchell@hotmail.com. Y'all stay in touch with your boy, and I'll give you the info.
Anyway, Finesse, a phenomenal conversation. Thank you for all your wisdom and just good storytelling just from your life, from football. Great perspective on all things sports. We appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you guys for inviting me on. And, go Falcons, go Hawks, go Braves, go Thrashers. Do we still have the Thrashers? I think they left.
No.
Go Dream.
Go Dream. Go Dream.
Go Dream.
All
Shout
that.
out to Dream.
Everything ATL. Expeditiously, you heard me? Yeah.